Have you ever done something kind for a stranger, never expecting to see them again? What if that one simple act of kindness changed someone's life forever, and years later, they came running through a crowd just to thank you? Today's story is about a single father who quietly helped a young woman during the darkest moment of her life while visiting France. He never asked for recognition. He simply walked away, believing kindness didn't need applause. But when he returned home years later, something happened at a busy company headquarters that left everyone speechless. Before we begin, if you enjoy heartwarming stories that remind us how powerful kindness can be, please subscribe to Kindness Matters, give this video a like, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us share more inspiring stories that make the world a little brighter. Michael Carter was 33 years old and lived in Seattle, Washington. He worked as an aircraft maintenance engineer and was raising his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, alone after losing his wife to cancer 4 years earlier. Life wasn't easy. Michael worked long shifts, packed school lunches, helped with homework, and somehow still found time to read bedtime stories every night. Money wasn't always plentiful, but love filled their small apartment. One spring, Michael won an employee travel reward after completing a difficult international aviation project. The prize included a week-long trip to France. At first, he almost turned it down. "I can't leave Lily," he told his manager. His parents smiled. "We'll take good care of her," his mother promised. "You've spent years taking care of everyone else. It's your turn." After much thought, Michael agreed. France was beautiful. He wandered through quiet streets, admired old buildings, visited museums, and enjoyed small cafes where people seemed to slow down and appreciate life. On his 4th evening in Paris, rain suddenly poured from the sky. People rushed into nearby shops to stay dry. As Michael hurried toward a small cafe, he noticed a young woman sitting alone outside beneath the awning. She looked exhausted. Her business suit was soaked from the rain, and she stared silently at an empty coffee cup. Something about her expression stopped him. She wasn't simply tired. She looked completely defeated. Michael walked over. "Excuse me," he asked gently. "Are you all right?" The woman looked up. "I'm fine," she answered politely. But her trembling voice said otherwise. Michael bought 2 hot coffees and quietly placed one in front of her. "You don't have to tell me anything," he said with a small smile. "Sometimes people just need someone to sit beside them." For several minutes, neither of them spoke. Finally, she sighed. "My name is Claire." She explained she was 31 years old and had recently launched a small technology company. Investors had backed out at the last minute. Employees were quitting. Bills were piling up. Everything she had worked for seemed ready to collapse. "I've failed," she whispered. Michael listened carefully. Then he shared his own story. He told her about losing his wife, about becoming both mother and father overnight, about crying after Lily had fallen asleep because he didn't know if he was strong enough. "But every morning," Michael said, "my daughter smiled at me like I was her hero. So I kept going." Claire listened without interrupting. Michael smiled. Success isn't about never falling. It's about standing up one more time than life knocks you down. Those simple words stayed with her. When the rain stopped, Claire reached into her purse. "At least let me pay for the coffee." Michael shook his head. "Someday," he replied, "help someone else." Then he walked away. Neither of them exchanged phone numbers. Neither expected to meet again. Back in Seattle, life continued. Michael returned to work. He fixed airplanes, packed lunches, attended school concerts, helped Lily learn to ride her bicycle. Years quietly passed. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, Claire never forgot that rainy evening. Whenever she felt like giving up, she remembered the stranger who believed in her before anyone else did. She fought harder. She rebuilt her company. She found new investors. She treated every employee with respect because she remembered how kindness had rescued her spirit. Little by little, her business grew. 5 years later, it had become one of Europe's fastest-growing aviation technology companies. Eventually, the company announced plans to open its North American headquarters in Seattle. Claire, now 34 years old, traveled to the United States for the grand opening. Elegant but humble, she remained the same compassionate woman Michael had met in Paris. On opening day, local aviation companies were invited to attend. Michael's employer sent several engineers. Michael almost skipped the event because Lily had a school project. His daughter smiled. "Dad," she laughed. "You always tell me opportunities matter. You should go." So he did. The modern headquarters buzzed with excitement. Business leaders shook hands. Reporters prepared cameras. Employees welcomed guests. Claire was giving interviews near the entrance when something caught her eye. Across the lobby stood a familiar man. Older. A little more tired. But wearing the same kind smile she had never forgotten. For a second she froze. Then she whispered, "It can't be." Without another thought, Claire excused herself from the reporters. Everyone watched in confusion as the CEO suddenly ran across the enormous lobby. She reached Michael and wrapped him in the biggest hug. The room became completely silent. Employees stared. Executives looked shocked. Photographers quickly raised their cameras. Michael stood frozen. "I'm sorry." He laughed softly. "Do we know each other?" Claire's eyes filled with tears. "You bought me coffee in Paris. You told me not to give up. You saved my dream." Michael blinked in surprise. Then he remembered. The rainy cafe. Claire nodded. "I never forgot." She turned toward the crowd. "This man changed my life. He didn't invest millions. He didn't know my name. He simply chose kindness when I needed it most." Many employees quietly wiped away tears. Claire invited Michael onto the stage. Standing before hundreds of guests, she shared the entire story. She explained how one stranger's compassion had given her enough hope to keep fighting. Then she smiled. Everything this company stands for began with one cup of coffee. The audience rose to their feet. The applause lasted several minutes. But Claire wasn't finished. She looked at Michael. "I've spent years wondering how I could thank you." She handed him a small envelope. Inside was an offer to become Director of Aircraft Safety Partnerships for the company's new American division. The position came with flexible hours, excellent benefits, and enough income to give Lily every opportunity Michael had dreamed of providing. Michael looked overwhelmed. "I only bought you coffee." Claire smiled through tears. "No. You gave me hope. And hope built this company." Months later, Michael accepted the position. His experience and honesty quickly earned everyone's respect. Claire led with compassion instead of fear. Michael reminded every new employee that titles never mattered as much as character. Lily often visited the office after school. She loved seeing the woman her father had unknowingly inspired years earlier. One afternoon she asked Claire, "Why did you hug my dad so tightly?" Claire smiled. "Because sometimes the people who change our lives don't even realize they've done it." Lily thought about those words for a long time. Years later, she carried that same lesson into her own life, always looking for someone who might need encouragement. Because kindness has a remarkable way of traveling farther than we ever imagine. A smile, a conversation, a warm cup of coffee, a few encouraging words. They may seem small today, but tomorrow, they could become the reason someone refuses to give up. So whenever you have the chance to help someone, don't wait for the perfect moment. Kindness doesn't require wealth, power, or recognition. It simply asks for a willing heart. And just like Michael discovered, the smallest act of compassion may someday come back in the most beautiful and unexpected way. If this story touched your heart, remember to share it with someone who could use a little hope today. Because every act of kindness creates another, and together those small moments can change families, communities, and even the world, one caring heart at a time.